Good evening, Moogles. This is Saberwolf, and we are chatting live on the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Coliseum 2. Today we have round 6, match 57, which is Zen0bian versus Mograe. Now, this is the lower bracket LCQ B. And how did we get to this point? Well, let's take a look at the lower bracket here. We got Drulith versus Double Down a little bit earlier this week. Drulith pulled out a 120, another fast time from one of the world record holders for Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. And he beat out our commissioner, so now our commissioner can give the good long rest and just focus on the tournament and then building it out. Now, they will face, moving on to next week, they'll be facing Taco Mage. Now, Taco Mage was in the top bracket with Falcon Hit. They went head-to-head on the Speed Gamers last night, and Falcon Hit came out on top, which means Falcon Hit actually has a 2-week buys. So the lower bracket can sort themselves out, but until then, Taco Mage will face Drulith tomorrow. Later on in the week, we will have Dr. DT versus Boo. That will be another VOD commentated live for you all, likely on Saturday. So stay tuned for Saturday, 9 p.m. for that. But last but not least, we do have Zen0bian and Mograe going head-to-head tonight. Now, the flag set that they are both running on here is the Realm flag set this week. Now, you do start with +5 speed, +5 magic, which is really nice, actually, and very powerful if you can get the magic spells to get there. If they get a Coliseum win, there'll be +15 magic power, so yes, there will be a +20 magic power overall for the entire team. But that's not all, because to learn those spells, each Esper will have 4 to 5 spells, and there'll be a ×7 multiplier bonus at the end of each battle to definitely exponentially learn all those spells very quickly. But wait, there's more, because for the second week in a row in the Coliseum 2 tournament, multi-summon is on. It was on last week for Strago. It is on again for his granddaughter, Realm. No Illuminas, no experience eggs, so no shortcuts allowed. Graphics will be altered palettes, so instead of the standard graphics we have been seeing this tournament, the palettes will be randomized into a different color scheme in all the NPCs, or players too. Also, one thing to note, why NPC sketch? That means if you walk up to somebody, they'll basically turn them into weird colors, a different person like that. Just a little fun little thing, doesn't really do anything, just a flavor of the seed. Once again, I am Saberwolf. I am just joined now by A-Prebz in the Discord. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing well. It's good to be here.
Yep, we're about ready to get this match started with
Perfect.
with Zen0bian versus Mograe here. Should be a very good match here.
Yeah, this sounds like it'll be a good one.
Now, once again, these two runners have run the race. I want to stipulate that first, that these two have run the race. Nobody knows the results except for the two of them, myself and the Schwans, who edited this video for us. So let's get to it, shall we?
Let's do it. Yeah, big thanks to Schwantz and big thanks to these racers for doing these races, and let's all enjoy watching this together. All right. Realm Shadow Sabin. We got lore on Sabin.
Wow, the timer is actually in sync. I'm shocked. That's amazing! Yay! I did something good! So what was our starting group? I'm going to have to pull triple duty tonight because I'm actually doing the trekking as well. So who do we
the groups, we've got Realm, Sabin, and Shadow.
Sabin and Shadow. That's a pretty interesting thing. What was their abilities?
The only abilities that I saw was Sabin's ability, which is lore.
The bonus +20 magic power if you go get the Coliseum and play there. That actually will balance out his meager magic power at his base stat.
Right.
Just put it lightly, you know. I mean, Bum Rush is a really cool ability, but he does have low magic power to power it.
Yeah, no, it's just this seed will give him brain and bronze, you know?
Yeah, brain and bronze for the bear.
Yeah.
So we don't know what Shadow has quite yet.
Not.
Ooh, but that's a Thunder Shield in the Treasure Room in Narshe. They'll definitely come in handy at the tail end of this race. And the Fire Rod, too. We have Fire Rods available. With the Magic Power, now the cool thing about items is that when you break them, you get the full effect of the... you basically go around the magic defense for it. So you get the full-on effect of that kind of spell. Rods would do the Fire 2, Ice 2, Bolt 2, and the shields would do the 3 versions. Looks like Mograe is also going to join Zen0bian now in Narshe. He did take a detour to the Returner's Cave, grab some items a little early on, so he has a little bit more items to sell in these shops, so he might have a little bit of a more advantage here. If there's anything good. White dresses are not that bad an item. They do have a pretty decent magic power to them. So definitely buying one of those. Golden Hairpin, that's a good item early on in the race. It cuts down the magic spells you cast, or basically any kind of magic thing you do, by half. So any early spells that we might learn with the 4 to 5 spells per Esper will definitely come in play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I am back, by the way.
Hey, welcome back.
Went missing there. My computer just crashed.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yep, I got the blue screen of death for a moment there.
Discord, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, everything's back now. I just had a quick little moment there,
Ooh.
but I'm back. You know, just the wonder of the race was too much for my computer to handle.
Well, with the early start doing returners before we go back to Narshe, we did find earrings in the relic shop at Narshe, so Mograe was able to buy those.
Nice.
Zen0bian is still perusing the shops here, getting an early stock on these sleeve bag as he goes to the Returner's Cave afterwards. Mograe with a free check to Shadow here. Fixed dice.
Ooh, some fixed dice, yeah.
Okay. Quite interesting.
Shout out to Mograe in the chat right now. Their run back.
And also shout out to Falcon Hit, who is the king of the hill at the moment. Gets the next 2 weeks off from the tournament and does not have to do the next set, which was revealed already. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the cast.
Nice.
So he does skip that one, which all the runners are going, no! So there's your teaser there.
Yeah. Stick around and find out. All right, now let's see what else we got here. So the fixed dice going on to Realm for Mograe.
Interesting. Must be the only person that can roll them. I would definitely put it on Shadow instead.
Yeah.
Depending on what Shadow's ability was. I mean, if it's throw, then Vanilla save Shadow in the matter of mind, but... Falling House here for Mograe. This also ties into Zen Thief. Does have a pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah. That is good routing there for sure.
25,000. No, thank you.
Yeah, that's a lot. Not quite.
And then for proverbial Ghost holding up the house, I'm not sure how that works. Ghosts, I mean, they can walk through walls. I'm not sure how they're holding up a wall.
Well, you know, if the movie Ghost has taught me anything, is if they have enough focus, they can interact with the physical world.
Okay, Casper. Ooh, a Gigantos in the chest. This is a lot of XP if you can get through these opening attacks. Now, Gigantos does 3 attacks in a row. Big dog coming into play here.
Nice work. That is a man's best friend right there.
Now, normally I would say Interceptor best doggo, but I do have my brand new doggo right underneath me here.
That's correct.
So,
yeah.
He's the best doggo now.
Yeah, we don't want to hurt his feelings right now.
Yeah,
Hello.
Labrador Basset Hound mix.
Ooh, that sounds beautiful.
Oh, he's a big bundle of love.
Love it. Love it. I was about to say puppy, but in the picture I saw, it's kind of big.
Oh yeah, he's 2 years
So,
old, but he's still a puppy.
oh yeah, he's gonna get big.
Oh, Exploder coming out here. We'll learn the ability though, but
Ooh,
we really don't want to
yeah.
learn it. I mean,
Not at that price. Not right now.
no. Let me know how the audio is for everybody. If I need to turn up the nats a little bit, because we are running this. These two runners kind of ran to this race already, so we're just commenting this live for the first time for all of you and doing it live. We're going live.
Yes. We are talking, we're watching live with you guys, but these races have been run. But we're watching first time too, so
Yep.
we're also going to be surprised and
Oh,
see everything you
dead
guys see.
check. Mograe
Yikes.
trying
Whoa.
to get ahead of the game is just met with 2 dead checks, so no advantage given at all.
I mean,
Ooh.
except for that Gigantos fight, that could be, you could see that as an
that's fine.
advantage.
That's okay.
Something to get out of that. But yeah, that's tough. You never like to see just and I stole a Super Ball.
Super
That's
Ball,
good.
okay. So Shadow has steel.
Yeah, there we go. Pulling out some nice steel strats there. Showing off what's happening there. Okay. Well done battle there.
So, yeah, rolling with the Breaking the Raw. Just want to get those levels up and running. Doing some fights in the South Figaro Cave, in the basement, rather. Hero Ring. I've seen Hero Rings, regular earrings, Genji armor.
Yeah.
Definitely not lacking in the items department. Yeah, that's Wildcat, not Stray Cat. There was 2 different cats in this game. This is not the one you want to see.
That's right. Although Zen0bian being able to get these Super Balls, this is going to be... And some EXP from these fights, so...
Yeah.
Scary fights, but he's coming out on top. I think net positive right here.
Yeah, Mograe going for the early checks, while Zen0bian's going for the early battles and getting a bonus with those Super Balls. So he does fight those bosses coming up. That will definitely help them.
Definitely.
But again, Super Balls are kind of random, so the damage could be meh.
It's a gamble, you know? It's you got to risk it for the biscuit. Just like those fixed dice, but at least the fixed dice are not expendable.
Are you taking Limp Biscuit, or? I do it for the cookie. We got Schwans now in the chat. Hello, Schwans.
I did it all for the cookie. What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Right. What's up, Schwans? How you doing?
Hey guys, thanks for letting me in. Sorry I was a little bit late. Had some personal business to attend to, but we've got a great matchup going on here.
Yes, Abrams is the only one in this channel that doesn't know what happened, actually. So I'll have to keep him in the dark.
There you go.
All good, all good.
I'm right here with you guys, chat. I have not seen anything, so yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, this is a really good race. Realm's Brush flag set has been pretty powerful with giving runners, some great opportunities to go pretty fast. And in this seed, we've got Realm with Sketch. I think Shadow has
Steel,
and Sabin has Lore right off the bat with Arrow. I did actually play this seed after Mograe and Zen0bian sent me their files to be like, I wonder how I would do in this seed. And yeah, both of them beat my time. So,
well, let's say Zen0bian putting that steel to use. Well, just before you joined us, did steal 2 Super Balls in the South Figaro basement when he was leveling.
He got a third one in the second.
Oh, he just got a third one?
So,
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Very nice. So that'll be good to cut through some bosses right away. Usually when I find Super Balls early in the seed, I tend to forego the fixed encounter checks and then rush a boss on level 3, right? Because Super Balls will just do a random damage between 250. Random damage multiple of 256. So it allows you to clear out some stuff early on in the seed while you are still on level 3.
Well, still being random damage, we have random battles now. Mograe going to the Coliseum early here. Not seeing much. Stone Muffler,
Okay.
Fire Rod maybe. Ooh, Pluto Armor.
Dragoon.
That's
There's
going to be a little
Dragoon
rough here.
boots.
But she does have fixed dice. And she also has a Thunder
And-
Shield, so we should be okay with this.
Double down.
Oh, I'll build-
put in some spoilers in the chat.
Okay,
so,
thank you, AI.
Yeah. Let's see. Not bad, not bad.
Yep, so, yeah, AI for Realm pulling out the exact ability that he wanted to use. Bolt 2 gets out of that fight and gets an extra 15 magic power.
Mm-hmm.
So plus 20 magic power, technically, for his whole entire team. With the
There
lore
you go.
Sabin, that's going to be really nice if he has the good lores, though. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, plus the earrings now too. So yeah, there's
Oh, yeah,
Lot-
tons of
lot
earrings,
happening there.
earrings, 2 golden hairpins were on the table, too.
my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll allow you to get those lures, online a little bit early with cutting the MP in half. And who is that at Esper Mountain?
Oh, it's
Yeah, that was kind of hard to see.
it's a Yeti. It's a
It's a
very
Yeti.
orange Yeti.
He's been left out in the
There you go.
sun a little too long.
Yeah,
Put
he's a
some,
little bit
put
of
some,
tan
put
there.
some lotion on, Yeti.
Ooh, and we have Shinya Behemoth versus Chad.
Cha-cha-cha.
Not sure which is better here.
Did we learn? No, we only learned Bolt 2. We
We
didn't
only
learn
have Bolt
any
2.
Fire
We do have fire
spells,
rods,
yeah.
though.
Yeah,
But we already used them.
we do have fire rods, but we only have the.
Oh, capture, not steal, but same thing.
Yeah, the only difference is with capture, it does the fight command before it does the steal. So it depends on what enemy you are taking something from. If it's something with very high evade, you actually won't be able to steal because you'll miss your hit.
Interesting.
Yeah, and Chad goes down first for Zen0bian there, and I'm sure that Senor Sriracha Scrontium Senior Super Behemoth won't last too long either. And that's a nice. You always get a Behemoth suit as a drop from that fight, so that'll be nice for Realm.
That's a second one, because she already has one.
Okay, very nice.
I don't quite remember where they got it, but Mograe did already have a Behemoth suit on.
It was a dead check off of Shadow's Gau's house.
That was
Oh,
the fixed
there you
dice,
go.
I think. So it was the other one.
Oh, it was the other one.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
the,
Then it was Falling House.
It was the collapse. Was it the
Collapse-
falling
yeah,
house?
collapsing house. Yeah.
Collapsing House.
yeah.
was the- yeah.
Did our runners sketch Katana Soul in collapsing house?
They got Gigantos and
Oh, that's right. That was.
Yeah.
That was a
okay.
different race.
Sorry. Yep. That's different seed.
They're all
My
merging
bad.
together.
My bad.
Yeah.
I've only done this 3 days in a row. Just leave
Yeah.
me alone.
No.
Yeah. So Esper from Barren Falls has Fire 3 on it. So I
Nice.
kind of showed my hand a little bit there as to what I did when I played this seed. I had Fire Magic when I got to Behemoth there. Not much. Oh, there's a
Oh,
Snow Muffler
that's a
in the
reset.
Coliseum, but unfortunately, wah, wah, wah.
wow, yeah.
It is a white dragon.
Yeah, you don't want to fight Dargans in the Coliseum one-on-one. Not even at this level.
Realm's got fixed dice. I mean, I tried it and it didn't go well for me when I played my seed, but you could certainly give it a shot. Genji armor there for his
for soft.
Oh
God,
boy,
so-
this is
yikes.
another awful fight.
Yikes.
Meteor right out of the
Going
gate.
for it though.
Oh, sketching out of the gate.
Okay.
Okay. Doom.
Oh my
gets
god,
it?
that was amazing!
What?
Wow.
This AI, my goodness.
Wow.
Buy a lottery ticket, Zen0bian. That was incredible.
Well, I mean, Mograe, when the Coliseum had Realm cast Bolt 2 on Pluto armor.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I
also
mean,
a good one.
Wow. Okay, so across the board,
really
plus 20
nice.
magic power for both runners now. They are definitely online with just a simple Bolt 2 spell.
Yeah, those Bolt 2s with plus 20 magic power will start to hit like Bolt 3s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Zen0bian with the early Esper now having access to Fire 3 as well with the plus magic power. So let's see if that gives an advantage.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be a dead check here, we already know. Meanwhile, Mograe up at Mount Colts is taking on Dullahan.
And that's a dead Dullahan.
Yeah, those arrows are hitting pretty hard for Sabin.
Yeah,
Love
Arrow has been an interesting ability that we found throughout this Coliseum that it's not as bad as we thought it was, you know?
Starlit over there for Mograe. Meanwhile, everyone is still panicking on Zen0bian's screen while he just goes and checks all the stores.
Hey, shopping's more important, okay? Realm's got to get her shopping on.
I guess that's where the term "shop till you drop" comes from.
Hey.
They don't want to drop that house. I'll be here all night.
F's in chat for that. Wow.
More Bolt 2 action. Little bio
Yeah.
in case we run into, some bosses like Spicy Chicken or Fun Baba later.
Yep.
Or Kefket Narshe, who's weak to poison.
Actually weak to poison, yeah.
Yeah.
Mograe's free fallen.
Free.
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh wait, it's not Saturday, I forgot, sorry. We said out of chat.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, Chatternook can be quite an annoying boss fight. Besides the fact that it wastes time, if you do not have lightning protection, he basically counterattacks every time with lightning. I don't think we have any elemental protection yet.
Yeah, we do a Thunder Shield.
Yeah, we got Thunder Shield. That's
Okay.
that's why
Thunder
they
Shield's
knew
the first thing they
Bolt
got.
2. Yeah, that's how they got Bolt 2 so quickly.
Yep.
Yeah,
But Bolt 2 only
unfortunately,
offense,
that
yeah.
also means if you only have Bolt 2, that's not really going to work against Chatternook, right?
Okay, so it is a glowing... Okay, so the stone
did,
is a glowing stone for Thief. It does cost less in the World of Ruin, so Margaret's going to go to World of Ruin and pick it up for about $10,000 discount.
Nice,
Double check.
There you go.
It looks like he's just selling stuff to get it now, and that is the Ragnarok Esper for Zen0bian. So both of our runners are going to be doing it.
Got Burton on it.
Strength +2.
Yeah. And again, all these spells are learned very quickly because there's a ×7 multiplier instead of a times, what is it normally, 3 or 5? I think it's 5.
Yes, normally it's 5x.
So it's a little bit higher for learning these spells. You only have to fight really 1 or 2 battles versus like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a ×5 would actually be a times, 35 technically? I don't know. I don't know how exponential math works.
I haven't done math in
And oh
years.
no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Oh god. Speaking of Kefka, rocking the
Hey, there he
pink.
is.
Yeah. This is a very pretty seed to watch through, just because of all the color swaps. I like it.
I love doing the palette swap. It's
Same.
one of my favorite things about Worlds Collide. You can make it. I know it's a randomizer and the game's different every time, but sometimes it gets boring playing the different same thing every time. That made sense in my head before I said it. That's why I like to do like palette swaps.
Yeah. I think it makes sense to those of us that actually run and go through multiple seeds.
All right, so Mograe is deciding to head up to the floating continent. I'm pretty sure he bought that second Esper right at Zen, so let's
Yep.
put that up there for him.
So this will be also we also got to take into account there is a shortcut of I believe it's 12 bosses.
Yes.
So this is four
I see.
bosses right here on this floating continent to add on to the other bosses he's already played. So
Right.
I think it's
That's
only
right.
1. So this will be 5 at the end of this. Because the only boss
usually I
this
could
spot
just-
is Senior Behemoth, right?
Yeah, usually I could just cheat
Yeah.
and look at their tracker, but I can't do that this time. Ooh, look at this mob here. Couple of undead things, but Yeti's just gonna smash into it.
Yeti's gonna do what a Yeti's gonna do.
Meanwhile, Zen0bian and Imperial Camp, there's no boss in this particular fight, and these enemies can actually sneeze you off screen, and that means you don't gain the XP or the MP for the fight. as one of their death counters. It's quite annoying.
Let's
It's
just use
also
on them
awful
first
to
with
run.
arrow.
Yeah, it's awful to run into in the Coliseum as well, because they could be like, you won, not so fast.
Yeah.
It does still count as a winning Coliseum battle for whatever reason. I'm not sure why the code flags it as a win, because I guess it's technically not a loss, so it's a win, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So you
it's
will
a
still
push, you
get
all
the
your money
reward.
back. Carbon.
Herdsman asking in the chat if there's a specific way to
Flare,
stop the
tier 3,
sneeze,
bolt 3.
or is it just a percentage if they counter?
I don't think so. I think it's just a death counter. It's similar to Chupan's sneeze, right? I don't know if
Right.
it gets blocked by like image. I doubt it does. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Stay in the air. Don't get sneezed.
Dark colors on Ultra Sin Chupon as we find number 24, Magic Master Jr.
The knockoff version.
Meanwhile, Zen0bian going into Phantom Train here. This is
Oh my
kind
God,
of a
I
peak
actually
check.
spelled that right.
It is a Ghost. It is an Esper Zone Seek. Not
Zone
the greatest
Seek.
Esper, but we'll see what it's got. More Merton, Fire 3,
More
and
Merton
Quick,
and fire. Yeah.
along with an HP boost.
Yeah, so it will counterattack 1/3 of the time with sneeze. Oh, somebody already said that. Never mind.
Yeah. Double down. Let
The
us
commissioner
know.
got in there, yeah.
Yep. 33%. 0.3333 repeating, of course.
Wow. Vanilla here.
Oh yeah.
Vanilla Air Force.
Ooh, that's a nod.
Oh,
Thank
and
you.
ninjas
See you
on the other
later.
side.
Run away.
Run. Run
Yep.
away.
Immediately. Of course, anytime somebody brings up 33.3% and then they say repeating, of course, I just think of Leroy Jenkins.
Oh. Oh, yeah. The chances of success are repeating, of course. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So,
Yes.
double down. You just brought back some good memories there, man.
So for the dragon
Stick
and
to
the
the plan.
Baskervore, which is the palette swap of that adamant thing, it is also a 33% chance, but I don't know what it is for some of these other monsters. Brachiosaur.
Oh,
Doesn't say
nice
on
Mega Elixir
here.
there.
Alexander with Bolt 3. Some more Bolt 3 action. A lot of electricity here. Fire 3. What we don't have, what we don't have so far is Ice 3 for Tiger. But given our magic power, I really don't think it matters.
Yeah, Wartbuck and Suriander, those palette swaps are also 1/3 of the time. So that seems to be a theme there.
you go.
Not presenter.
Big Daddy Luma over there for the Phantom Train.
Yeah,
So
high kicking down the tracks
probably
here.
we're probably
Yeah.
we're probably looking in monster in a boxes for Katana Soul for that offering for the fixed dice. I'm guessing, huh?
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah, probably.
nice. Stole a sneak ring from the Daddy Luma. Didn't see that coming.
Oh,
But
we did have Ice
yeah.
2. Never mind. We have Ice 2. We're good. We got everything we need. Yes, we had stop on the Alexander as well.
Ooh, nice.
So when we have break, so all we're missing seriously is just calmness protection, silence maybe on magic.
I think one of the Espers taught mute.
When I start, okay, okay, so all we're missing is just Doom / X Zone in calmness protection.
I mean, unless you could sketch a Allosaurus.
Yeah, that was amazing.
All right, so Zen0bian still, I think he's got some Super Balls in his inventory. They tend to tail off around levels like 15 to 20, where, you know, your attacks are probably going to do more damage than a Super Ball roll might do to you, and he's right there. So it's one of those situations where unless you're planning on using it with your meat shield characters off the bench in Kefka's Tower, you might as well use it now.
Unfortunately, no XP here for Mograe's battle as Ultros for the Chupon as Zen0bian finds their Yeti in a cave. A little more tropical cave than Narshe's.
And just to point out to Arusta in the chat, Zen0bian, I don't think learned Doom. They used Sketch in the Coliseum, which gave them, which cast Doom for them. So they didn't actually learn it.
Wait, what is this about Disney in chat? Did I miss something?
It might. Magic, I guess, is the answer. That's true for all sneezers.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Saban does have Doom? Oh, I guess Saban does have Doom.
Oh, that was Realm.
That was an Esper for Mograe, right? At FC2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, since we got a bunch of Yetis in the pocket here, do you want to talk about the next week's flags?
Oh, yeah.
Since we're on topic?
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you want to
one.
go dancing, boys and girls, there's only one place you can go, and that is Umaro's Club. And in Umaro's Club, there's only one dance you can do, and that is the dab. So there it is, Umaro's Club. That is our flag set for next week. So we get plus 10 strength right out of the gate. And if we win a battle in the Coliseum, we get an additional plus 30 strength. So that's plus 40 total, which is ridiculous. However, there's a catch. Your crew will get auto berserk cast on them. So that essentially means you are not in control of the wheel, essentially.
Yeah.
You can counter this with a ribbon or a peace ring, so be sure to, make a note in a shop if you really want to go this route, and if you want to do that. So, since Yeti, all he does is smash, the commands are split. 7 characters will have random unique commands, and it excludes Possess, Capture, Runic, X, Magic, Sketch, and Control. And 7 characters will have no special commands. They'll just be Fight, Magic, and Item, and that's it.
That's insane.
Wow. Espers will always give some sort of bonus, and our stats are between 100 and 125% of vanilla. No free characters or Espers is turned on as well. So, the Auto Berserk in the Coliseum is fun. I don't know if it's good for a race, but it's definitely one of the more fun things to do. It is very fun. Especially in Kefka's Tower when your scrubs are just oh, I'm just going to try and hit things, and they hit for 25. It's kind of pathetic.
I will say Guardian at the end of Island is pretty bad, but yeah, when we have both 2s and 3s, I guess not.
Yeah, with the bonus magic power, the earrings, the hero rings, all of these stacked magic boosting.
Edgar.
Ooh, that's a fine looking Edgar right there.
2 Espers and a character, not bad.
Yeah. Ooh, naughty jump Edgar too. Wow.
Oh, that's the best kind of Edgar.
There's also Dragoon boots in the Coliseum.
Well, I mean, we need Dragon Horn though.
Yeah.
Oh, Dragon. Yeah, sorry.
On the Dirt Dragon, there was an Aura Lance as a drop for Zen0bian. So if Mograe decides to head up there, he's got the best lance in the game. And
I believe there's an Aura Lance in the Coliseum as well.
Yeah, so we'll see if either of our runners decide to go back there.
Well, I mean, they have Yeti. I mean, this is a double check up there.
That is true. And we're going to see what's at the Tritok Cliff here. This can only be an Esper item reward. So yeah, the Umaro's Club. I did a few seed vets for that particular flag set when we announced the Coliseum, and I found that the Berserk is worth it if you have a character that you already are going to use. Like for instance, I found a character with the Valiant Knife and Offering, and I'm like, hey, I'm just going to leave Berserk on this character. I don't really care that I can't control him because I would just be doing the fight command every turn anyway. Right, but you got to shop around in relic shops for those peace rings or those ribbons in case you don't want that to be the case.
Yeah, easy work of the cranes over there for the Tritok check with all this magic boost and bolt magic.
See you later, Niles and Fraser.
And Odin is the reward for that.
Yeah, you can, and there's another. So Doom is on that Odin Esper, so that's where we learned that from. Oh no, we just got Odin.
Yeah, we just got Odin, but somebody else apparently has Doom as well. So
Yeah, so there's the mute on Carbuncle. So we should be pretty well set for Kefka. We just do not have Calmness protection yet. So that's something to keep our eyes open for.
Zen0bian did find a Mega Elixir though, so that will be helpful as well.
Yeah, for sure. Use it right after Fallen One. You can try and do capture, right? With if we still have Shadow in our party, we could capture a Mega Elixir off of Kefka.
True.
So yeah, with any of the auto whatever statuses, you could actually negate them using relics. So if you ever are... Oh, there's another character here. Let's see who's stomping down the stairs here on Zen0bian's screen. Oh, Thick Setzer in the building.
Well, we've got our fixed dice user now, so...
Oh, boy.
Oh, no. Okay, Well...
Now's the time to use those super balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he remember he has
Okay, we got Flare. We could possibly do this.
We got Flare.
We got Yeti.
Fixed dice. We got Yeti. We can do it.
Another Magicite there for Mograe on the throne. So that's number 5 for him. And if Edgar's at the front of the party, when you talk to these keepers, you get half-price shops, which is pretty nice.
Discount double check.
Only in Figaro Castle or World of Ruin South Figaro. Those are some cheaper consumables.
Yeah, we got Flare with tons of magic power. I think we're good with this, right?
Yeah, unless you run out of MP.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
unless you run out.
You have golden hairpins. You should be using them.
Yeah, I tend to take the golden hairpins off after, I get enough levels where I have over 100 MP. But, yeah, it would be nice to have them now.
Yeah.
Oh, there comes the Super Balls.
There it goes. Let's see it. Let's get big money, no whammies.
All right, so it looks like Mograe is heading to World of Ruin Jador for Owser's Mansion and potentially Auction House.
Psych!
We're just interchanged them.
And there it is. Ding dong, the Magi Master is dead, so we're going to get Setzer on our team.
That's the second Mega Elixir of the game, too.
So each of our runners has one, right? Because you said Mograe picked up one? Or does Zeno have 2?
No, it was. I think Zeno has 2 of them now.
All right. So we know that Setzer can use that fixed dice, and that's probably what he's going to do for at least a little bit until he learns some spells. This is a PG-13 channel, Green Monkey. I will refuse to acknowledge your comment. Oh,
now
there's
Zen0bian finds
Berserk on Palador.
Okay.
So if Mograe trudges up to the World of Ruin, he'll have a slightly easier time with Magi Master.
Search the skies here from Ultros 1.
Yeah, bit of a pushover here, especially with fire magic.
Fire 3 with plus 20 magic power. Yeah,
Yep.
that'll do it.
See you later, guy.
Yeah.
And out comes the shiny stone.
My goodness.
Yeah, so other than the collapse, there's our calmness protection.
All of them.
Yep,
There's our calmness protect. Yeah.
We got all the pieces we need. Kefka, here we go.
So that means Mograe has to go grab Setzer or accidentally fly his airship into the Doomgaze spot for Golem. So that's an interesting pickup for Zen0bian there.
But it's going to go to the Jador Owser's house.
I was going to say, we haven't seen a dead check since the beginning Collapsing House and Gao Manor, but I spoke too soon, because Zen0bian, Curse of the Commentator, picks up a Force Shield.
Dude, you got to stop.
I'm calling Janet. Listen, I didn't roll this seed, okay? Oh, hello.
There's a Valiant Knife.
Yeah, but can anybody use it?
Yeah,
It's a question.
Yeah, Zen0bian.
I don't know if we need
Well,
it.
Zen0bian is gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
I heard you like magic power, dog, so I'm gonna put some more magic power in your magic power.
Yeah.
With that enhancer.
Yeah, nice enhancer pick up there. I think that's actually a smart move.
Yeah,
I think you're on the right track there.
Yeah, with tier 3 elemental spells, right, you're going to want to lean into what the seed is giving you. Plus 20 magic power and tier 3 spells basically means you're doing quad 9s by the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're hoping that if the VK is out there, I guess Shadow would be the best person to try to use it on, if he can use it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd almost rather just have Shadow cast spells because his magic power is his magic power is pretty high. So I think you would probably get more value out of it. Now, if we already had an offering, that might be a different story, right? If we had an offering, then we're going to use the Valiant Knife for 4 attacks instead of just 1. But since we're using just 1 attack with the Valiant Knife, I think that going with magic is probably the smarter play here. What do you guys think?
I think going for magic is smarter just because of all the bonuses that they have right now, because they're stacked magic-wise. He may also be deciding to wait and see if he can find Katana Soul in this monster box here in Daryl's Tomb.
Yeah, you really
and
need
then go
VK
back to get it. Yeah, so...
Or offering for that, rather.
Yeah, just to make it so much more viable compared to all the stacked magic power they have. So maybe he'll go back if he gets offering here, but at this point, I wouldn't even really worry about it with all the magic power that's available.
Yeah, and it depends on who can equip it, right? Locke is the only person that can equip it in vanilla. There's a 33% chance that one of these other characters can. But...
And he's deciding not to go for the monster in the box anyway.
Ooh, don't need that either.
Yeah.
However, he's going to take the fight just because this is an easy boss fight, right? So I would have to imagine if this boss fight was more difficult, Zen0bian would have reset out of here. But as it is, wham bam, thank you ma'am, see you later Ultros, and we're finally going to use Bio here on Fun Bobby.
Yeah. Although, if he does find Edgar, which we know is one of our possibilities, he could give that Aura Lance to Edgar, but...
Yeah,
but he does not know that. So
yeah, at this stage with a 5 characters, 6 espers, I don't think Floating Continent is really on his palette right now.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it might be after this one because I think he's running out of checks here, so he might have to do it after this one.
Do we know how many? Have we been keeping track of how many bosses he's at? Because that could be another reason to go for.
That is true.
Floating Continent.
No clue.
Yeah, we don't have Ceiling Cat on our tracker for keeping us in line today.
Right, hey, you're stuck with me. The secondary.
We're missing a cat. Yeah.
We don't have the S tier. We'll settle for the B tier.
Oh my goodness.
Seraphim.
Well, hey, I mean, seriously, each of us has our own strength. I mean, you take care of the speed gamers on Wednesdays, so
there we go. All right, so glowing stones are available in the auction house. So Mograe is going to get multiple value out of this Jador trip, and there's an Esper on the ground for Zen0bian as well.
I'm just a printing press for VODs.
There you go.
Yeah. It is an Esper, so I don't think Floating Continent will come into play. But it might be his only check he has left, though.
Yeah, I think Floating Continent 3 is it.
Ooh.
Of a statue.
Because we've seen Realms 2 checks, right? We've seen Umaro's check. We've seen all 3 of Setzer's checks. We are now seeing that Velt Cave is an Esper. Gao Manor was just a friend, right? A fixed dice.
Just a friend.
What I need. And we've seen all the Saban's checks. I mean, there is Kefka at Narshe, so, but we know that there is a. There is. I'm glad somebody picked up on that reference. There is a possibility that there's a character in Kefka at Narshe here as well. Meanwhile, Mograe is going to get his thick Setzer. We'll see if he decides to stop it and take the Dirty Dragon as well.
I will say Saban's arrow doing work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm going for the dragon fight.
I think that's been one of the most underestimated abilities in this whole entire Coliseum tournament. Has been Lore Arrow.
Yeah, there's not a lot of enemies in the game that are either resistant or absorb wind, so it's very versatile in that particular aspect. And since it can't be reflected, it works much better on this phase of Doom, right? Where he gets the image status and reflect. Fixed dice always, fixed dice always hits, so that's not a problem with the image status, and that's simultaneous kills on our screens here.
Rakow.
Well, that is the Pearl Lance or Arrow Lance, whichever one was. That is for Edgar right there, for Mograe.
Yep. Raiden Esper there for Zeno. So that puts him in the lead with 7.
Fire 2, Doom. Okay, guess some good spells. Now, the only problem I see with this whole thing is Girl, but then again, we do have Flare. So
yeah, we have Flare.
We can get around Girl on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in go mode pretty much. I mean, just need some more levels and grab a couple of as neededs.
Yeah, so Mograe will probably get his Calmness protection here. I did not when I played this seed, so I had to get creative. I used Palador.
So what'd you do? Play the seed while it was rendering?
Well, they raced this last night, so I downloaded the seed and so I played it today while it was rendering. And I used Palador. And how you can use Palador is everybody jumps in the air. Oh, there's your offering.
There's your offering, yeah.
And as your characters come down one by one, then they can get hit with Calmness. So I had my one character come down, and then Sleep decided, I'm going to hit you with Calmness, and it was just the one character that died. So.
Nice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we pretending that this is live?
It is. Well, I mean, it's technically is.
Yeah. You're
sorry. The immersion. I'm breaking it all.
Well, I will say that they did not post the results of Coliseum
over 2. There on the crane fight.
They did not post the results of Coliseum 2, so everybody's still in the dark in this, except for 4 of us.
Right.
So.
Right. No spoilers. All right, so Zen0bian looks like
Mograe, this is like deja vu.
Oh, he's going occult. Okay, I thought he was.
He's doing everything in his power not to go to Floating Continent.
At this point, I kind of agree with him. Like, you've put off Floating Continent. You're like, I'm going to last location this because I do not want to do Floating Continent.
I mean, you could check out of Floating Continent after the second check, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it after the first check too. You just have to go through. You just have to go through the entire island.
Well, I would do even after this check, you still have 2 things you need, which are both Espers.
They are
they
are selling at the auction house, though, right? So
auction house, yeah. But he's looking for a character here.
Yeah.
Which
it doesn't matter how many Espers we get. We need 6 characters.
True.
Because we have plenty of Espers on the table that we know of.
Yeah.
All right. Did we see this fight? Yes, we did. And we know it's the character. Yep, so the last character for Zen0bian, I believe, has to be at Floating Continent 3, which we know Edgar is. Or
there's
Narshe, which we did not see yet.
Didn't realize there's also Pearl on the Phantom Esper, so another nice magic option there.
Which means Setzer was a dead end for characters.
Correct. Setzer was, And hopefully you learn Berserk by now, Mograe.
He does have Berserk, he just didn't cast it.
Well, he might not have learned it. Or it might be on Shadow. Yeah, that's why we got to get him back up here.
Yeah, we have Flare. I guess we can get around it.
All right, number 8 for Zen0bian, and we'll see where he decides to go.
And the kids go wild.
The crowd is going crazy, folks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, apparently he doesn't have Berserk learned yet.
I'll do one of my local TV station does. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? Every single snoozecast, they do it.
All right. So it's an Owser's Mansion play here for Zen0bian.
Which, again, is not going to be a character.
Yeah.
I mean, would you do Kefka at Narshe at that point?
Oh yeah, I'm peeking Kefka at Narshe before I'm deciding to go all the way up to the floating continent for sure.
I mean, he's done everything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that would be the play too.
Ooh, that's a lot of damage.
Yikes.
All right, there, Phil Swift. Let's see how Mograe can take out Magimaster here. Oh, using the fixed ice, very nice. There it is.
All right.
I mean, Mograe in chat shocked himself with the holy crap Magimaster.
And that is Thick Boy Setzer there for Mograe. So he is our first runner to 6 characters.
So
There
2
we go.
Espers. Do we go to auction house now with 2 Espers on the table that we need?
I guess it would depend on how many bosses we've killed, right? Because Setzer has 2 boss checks, right, at the tomb and at Sursa Skies.
Sursa Skies, which we know is an Esper.
Yeah, Sursa Skies can only be Esper item. So depending upon my boss count, that's what I'm doing first. And if I have enough bosses to maybe do a skip, if I bring my party up the middle, then I'm doing auction house. But otherwise, I am doing neither and going to the Velt Cave instead.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, which again is an Esper too. I mean, don't get it wrong.
Yeah,
Could do
chat
this,
pointing.
then do the Of course, you could get the encounter as you're flying there.
Yes.
So
That's true.
You'll
That's
set
true.
that, tie in that. Like that's like the absolute last thing you want to do is like, okay, now I'm gonna do it because I couldn't get it like in a random chance.
Yeah, yeah. The classic, let's learn the weakness to this boss after killing the boss. There.
Yeah.
I think Mograe learned Berserk after killing Magimaster.
Yeah. All right, and so there we go. Mograe sees that it's a dune, which is nice. That's what he wants to see.
But this is
Nice.
another statue fight though, so it's gonna be a little tough.
That's true.
Yeah, that's one of the tough things about relying on magic is that there are certain bosses that are just a pain in the neck. Doom's second phase definitely happens to be one of them. Some others include Rexol is kind of a pain in the neck because he has very high
yeah.
magic resistance. Same with Goddess.
Especially Goddess.
Mograe does
Ooh.
have the fixed dice and the jumping Edgar, though, right? So that's a nice option there in terms of some physical damage to dish out.
Yep.
This is a really close race though.
Unfortunately, his party is frozen. 2 out of 4.
It's hard
As
to tell.
Zen0bian picks up his last Esper there.
Everybody's blue, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, right. I like how the random palettes decided to give Edgar and Sabin the same color outfit. That's a nice touch.
That is nice.
And also give Yeti and Realm the same color out. Anyway,
They're both blue belt. They're both blue belts in martial arts, apparently.
there you go.
I'm sad we did not get to see Fabio Setzer.
Oh god.
I love Fabio Setzer.
Ooh,
Yeah,
is that
Fabio,
a reset for the Zen0bian?
No, he just took a 10.
Oh, he took a 10. Okay.
Yeah. Who is your favorite character to use in a palette swap seed? I like Gogo.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Gogo's nice. Gogo's nice, just with that robe that he has on.
Yeah, it's reverse colors depending on which palette you put in. Here comes Floating Continent from the Zen0bian.
Oh, the
Okay.
Mad Lad is doing it.
He's doing it.
Yeah, no,
Did
can
we-
you
did we
warp
keep-
out? You can't warp out from here, right?
No, nope, you cannot.
So he has to run. He has to run 3/4 of the island then.
Well,
after this.
there is a possibility that your character is at the first check and then you just duck out after the first one.
Oh, wait.
I don't know if he peeked Kefka at Narshe already and saw that it was not a character, but I certainly would have done that before I would have went up here.
Well, he doesn't need espers. He needs characters, so he's got to get 2 extra espers, which he doesn't need before he gets to the character.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, obviously, he doesn't know that the first check is an esper, right? It could be a character. It's just, unfortunately, not.
I mean, I would have peeked Kefka at Narshe, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because if you got a last location on the island on top of that, dude.
All right, there's another for Mograe. He validates a seed by petting the doggo.
Bro.
Right.
Checks out an empty barrel on the way through.
Let's see where Mograe decides to go for this last Esper.
Yeah, so it'll depend on his boss count,
Yeah, true.
as we talked about. If he needs one more boss, then let's search the sky. If he doesn't, then let's go to the auction house. It doesn't look like he needs levels. He's in the mid-30s, so that's pretty decent for levels.
Especially with the tools we have, the magic power we have. I mean, the levels are kind of obsolete.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
levels only give us a health pool to work off of for defense, really. Because
Well, the level is in the damage calculator once for magic and twice for physical attacks. So the level is important, right? Not just for defense. But
well, I'm just
for-
saying, in case you get a goner or something.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, search the skies right here for Mograe. This will be Esper number 9 for them.
Yeah, this is much faster than the auction house.
Oh, yeah.
Even if this was a boss that wasn't as easy as Ultros one. So one thing I'm noticing, and maybe it's because Mograe didn't get it, but I didn't see any fire spells, or any fire 3 spells rather, which will help on tier 1. And there's his Calmness Protection and cha-ching cha-ching. Uh-oh, Kefka. We ready.
All right. Go mode for Mograe. Let's do this.
Yeah, Mograe
And
didn't do
Zen0bian-
the Phantom Train.
Yeah, Zen0bian's going to get go mode in about 5 minutes from now.
Mograe talks to himself in the third person, apparently.
Actually, maybe not. Maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, but yeah, it's ugh. Floating continent. I do not like doing
Crazy.
it unless I do it, much earlier towards the earlier side of the seed.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you get trapped like this, where you're like, God, I now have to do the third check because there was an Esper on the first one.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to be a long hike for the Zen0bian as Mograe goes into Kefka's tower at 54:35 here.
All right, so overload in party 2. That means we're going to see a Toilet Atma visit. And then he'll probably get his skip after that.
Yeah, it just pointed out in chat that at this point he was at 11 bosses.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. This Toilet Atma spot is quick to get to, and it does not increase scaling, and it drops a high tier item.
Not bad.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are not sure where Zeno is at with his
Ooh,
bosses.
It is a Doom Gaze.
Ooh.
Here comes the
Oh,
math
I forgot about
check.
this.
Nobody passes the math
Oh,
test.
no.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Oh, dear God.
Well, luckily we saved right outside the tower, so it's not horrible. But
Wow.
well, that makes it a
Ugh.
little more difficult.
Well, all right, so Toilet Atma's ideal, but there is another boss. It's also pretty close.
We're gonna go look at Inferno, see what that's got for us.
Oh, that's incredible.
Oh my goodness.
Don't feel so bad, Mograe. I did the same exact thing when I ran this seed. I did the same thing you did. Doomgaze level 35 on my party. He said, "Get out of my tower."
Math is important, Moogles. Math is important.
Whew.
Yep. And speaking of getting blown away,
Yeah.
Zen0bian gets another Magicite. I didn't see the KT skip unlock yet on his banner, and maybe I missed it when he was taking out one of the two earlier bosses. So he might be at 12 once he gets yeeted off of the statue there. Yeah, so I would like to say hi and welcome to the top fails of the week, Mograe.
Yeah. That is going to be number one. Oh, it doesn't get the save there? He's got confidence. Yeah, spicy chicken.
Oh, God.
Get the spicy chickens in the chat, y'all.
Dear Lord.
No save
my
for it
goodness.
either. You
I
didn't
forgot
save.
that this is here, too. Thankfully, we have stop. Yeah, we do.
Stop at the name of poultry.
However, Zen0bian's a little confused on his side.
Oh boy, here comes a bolt 3 action on... Oh, he survived.
Oh, good. Big thank you to Brother Mod for their subscribe with the Prime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also,
Huge
shout out
praise.
to TJ Joel for the first time in chat. Welcome.
Oh, welcome, welcome.
With the spicy chickens, even.
Yeah.
By the way, for those that do subscribe to our channel, all the proceeds for all the subscriptions goes to charity. And so far, since the Worlds Collide channel has started, we have given away, plus other events that we've gone to, over $22,000 in proceeds to numerous beneficiaries for like kids and gamers giving back, along with many other things. So again, subscriptions here, they all go to charity, does not go to us. So
That is correct. And if you're ever interested in knowing, like, if we're going to be at certain events and doing stuff with certain charities, make sure you join the Discord, and we announce events and things like that in the Discord as well. So if there's one in particular you'd like to go to or tune into, if you follow or are big supporters of a certain charity and you know we're going to be there, you know, definitely come and support. Huge
Medes with gifting 10 first-tier subs. Gifting to Kibasiako, Takun, Mike, Jucifer 99, myself, Taco Mage, Captain Haver, Hudat42, Boogleplex, Ephraim, and Mirshana. Thank you, Medes.
Here comes the money.
Yes. Huge shout out to Medes. Thank you again.
All right, so we took care. We've had some dinner. Mograe has scarfed down his spicy chicken, and he's getting in at the statue skip. Meanwhile, Zen0bian has higher levels, as he did some more checks, and I'm pretty sure he's got skip. Or if not, it's going to be very close. Let's see. He's got skip.
He's
as
got
well.
skip.
Oh my goodness!
Side by side racing now.
All right, so Mograe's deciding to take the middle path up here. Let's see what we got. Well, Ifrit Shiva action.
All right.
I think we got ice. Yeah, we do. No,
Yeah,
we
I
don't.
think we've got... Somebody has ice. Oh, but not either of these guys. Not the brothers.
Nope.
That's unfortunate.
The Figure Bros are going to have to use the flare spell. And you know what that means. A little resident sleeper action. Oh!
Oof.
All right.
And for a no likey.
Meanwhile, for the Figure Bros on Zen0bian's screen, a much more tame fight.
Yeah.
Is this even a fight?
It was?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah, but the interesting thing about leader is its placement in the game, which is why it's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things, right? Like, you know how there's those, those unwinnable fights, like in certain games where you're supposed to lose, like Ridley in the opening part of Super Metroid, like you're supposed to lose.
Yeah.
That leader's the opposite.
Well, there's got to be some sort of comfort, I would say, going into these boss battles here, right? Because we've already had Doom, we've already seen Spicy Chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen Chad, we've seen Guardian.
We've seen Chad, we've
and...
seen
well, okay.
Magimaster.
Yo, you caster curse this, Aprebs!
Aprebs.
That's
Why?
my first time cursing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
But why?
God.
Oh man, that's my
Oh,
first
we've already
curse,
seen
and
all
it's
these
the one.
statues. What's gonna happen, goddess?
I was just about to say the only one we haven't seen is Goddess.
But why? Why you do that though?
Aprebs, use goddess. It was super effective.
Oh man, I have been fully initiated into the commentator slot here now.
There it is.
Yeah, this is Jim Nance level Jinx. You're not wrong.
Oh man. But
My goodness.
I guess to finish my thought, I would have felt more comfortable.
Well, Zen0bian doesn't know that Spicy Chicken and Spicy Chicken and Doomgaze are, Inferno and Toilet Atma, respectively.
Toilet Atma, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's a kapow from Mograe getting through that fight.
Yeah, very nice. I agree. Chad is talking about the boss requirement for Kefka's Tower skip. I love the strategy that goes behind it because it also incentivizes checks with bosses and decentivizes either free checks or just fixing counter checks like Serpent Trench, Imperial Camp, etc., etc. Right? So
Yeah.
it allows you to go to checks that maybe would be less favored in a normal race, right? And it allows you to get rewarded for doing some of the longer, more difficult checks for sure.
Yeah, totally.
And I just hate walking through Kefka's Tower, so there's always that.
Yeah, right. And like especially for me, my first couple runs and only ever seeing it like raced and seeing people try to get through as quick as possible, right? Like I would always just immediately go for the free checks and non-boss checks and then get stuck and have to grind levels because I outpaced the checks and the level scaling and all that stuff, right? So making sure that there's an incentive to actually fighting the bosses and like you said going through the more difficult checks, I think it guides racers, and not that like racers of this level need guidance, but for anybody who's new trying out these seeds or newer like me, it just helps guide them into better, I think, approaching the seeds.
Yeah. I still will use those force encounter checks very early in the game to get levels instead of taking off the Moogle Charm and grinding, right? Because I'd rather be grinding and going for something than just sitting there running back and forth. But yeah, I understand that premise as well. And we saw both of these runners did do the let's take off the Moogle Charm and do our thing.
Yeah, they did, right? They did. I think for Zen0bian, it was down in the Figura basement, and yeah, we did definitely see them take the Moogle Charms off early game. But yeah, I was saying, I just think for newer runners especially, it would just help guide them towards taking battles rather than just speed and then get locked out or discouraged later on from then meeting enemies and bosses that are like way out leveled, way over leveled compared to them. And I think it's
okay. Whew.
Yeah.
So one thing about Zen0bian is he did just witness Pearlwind, which is great because he has his lore user Sabin in his party. So now that's I don't know if we found Cure Magic in this seed, but
Cure
if we
3
did not. Okay. So never mind. My point is moot. Yeah, so that's important. That's really important, right? Because even very early on in seeds, taking one additional grind fight matters so much more when you talk about snowballing levels, right? I often have to remind myself, listen, it's going to take you 2 extra minutes maybe, or 1 extra minute, but it's going to save you 15 on the back end of the seed if you just take one more fight here.
Yeah.
Obviously, you get a little out of control with it if you go too far the other direction, but you know, one more grind fight to get you from like level 5 to level 7 is much more impactful earlier on in the game.
Definitely, yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, like you said, I think if learning to then take that approach of, okay, well, I'm going to do this check because it has fixed encounters, and at the end, I'm going to get the levels and a check, right? And so, obviously, that is one of the best ways to get some progress. But yeah,
Okay, we just lost
that's why I do
there.
guidance.
Sorry,
yeah. No, I saw. I saw my screen went frozen for a moment. I was like, I'm just gonna keep talking just in case. But
yeah, there we go.
But yeah, no, I was just saying that I agree with Schwantz that now when I go into a race, I try to do the fixed encounter checks as well, just because there's the double reward of experience and a check at the end.
Yeah.
But that's why I like this 12 boss KT skip requirement. I think it is a smart.
Mograe, first on the switches, 108.
104. Yeah, 108 on the dot, essentially. Question in the chat, how to defeat the menu boss. My mantra for menuing is only menu when you save, and save after every check. So that should be the only time you're in the menu. That's it.
Or right before a boss fight.
And not every character has to learn every spell. 108.25, so it's about a 20 or so second difference here.
Which is about the same as when but that's about the same as when they came in. So they basically are still right where they were when they entered Kefka's Tower. So no real change, really. No advantage.
Yeah, so this is going to come down to execution, RNG, and what runners have the proper spells for different things. We know they have mute, they have instant death, they have calmness protection. Do they have the weaknesses of some of these parts of the bosses, though? That remains to be seen here.
Do they have guile?
Beep-itty-ditty. His theme goes with everything, right?
They also have the same setup with the team, too. I mean, well, actually, no. Mograe is using Edgar versus Zen0bian using Setzer.
Yeah, because those are the characters they found earlier on, right?
True.
So they're the ones that
correct.
had the time to learn all the spells. Unlucky there with getting an Odin miss on Mograe's side. Zen0bian, meanwhile, casts Golem, and you might say, oh god, why did he do that? It's only tier 1. Well, in this flag set, Espers are multi-summon.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Excuse me, I had to sneeze in the middle of my sentence there.
Bless you. But, yeah, that's nice. And so you see Mograe does get a second chance with Odin. And, yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that as a thing.
Yeah, so we'll see X-Zone for Zen0bian and Odin for Mograe. It looks like Zen0bian has Fire 3, whereas Mograe does not, just has Fire 2. So we might see this go a little faster here for Zen0bian, although I think Head is already dead for him.
Yeah, Mograe's already has Head dead. Yep, 87,000 versus 46,000. Yeah, this is slightly for Zen0bian here. Mograe's moving up. 5.
And there it is. One spell ahead.
So he caught 12 seconds. Zen0bian caught up by 12 seconds there.
All right, so now we're heading up to tier 2. We can have mute, nullify magic. We've got access to instant death for tools.
Yeah?
I think Zen0bian has ice spells because I saw him using them. I don't know if Mograe does, so that is the weakness of Tiger. So we'll see how Mograe decides to deal with Tiger. Bolt 3 is probably okay in this scenario, but it does cost MP. And I don't know if any of our runners have Osmose, so that's also a thing to consider here too, right? When you're heavily
Yeah.
relying on magic, you got to have magic power.
Mograe going the extra step there did get X Zone out the tools, so that's dead. However, Zen0bian failed their try on that, so tools is still up for Zen0bian. Also, Mograe going the extra step there, casting Stop on Bluey.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has Mute, because I think Mute was in the Esper and the Phantom train, which Mograe did not visit. So he's going to have to
Yeah.
deal with magic, which is just really a time waste. And unfortunately, Zen0bian there getting unlucky again with the X Zone.
Oh, and quarters coming out to the entire party from Mograe. That's not a good
Yuck.
position to be in either.
And I'm not sure if Mograe found the same Mega Elixirs that Zen0bian did.
I think
Well,
one
we
was
know
in
he
his chest. We got
defeated-
one.
We know
okay,
he
so
defeated
maybe one.
Magimaster, so both runners defeated
Both
Magimaster.
land-
So
That's
we got one.
true. That's true. That's true.
And with multi-summon, you could use Seraphim, I think that was, which is a pathetically weak cure. It's like just slightly higher than Cure 1 and much worse than Cure 2. Oh, 2 out of 4 frozen. Meanwhile, on Zen0bian's screen, Shadow looks stopped. So, Tier 2 bullying our runners here tonight, eh, Prebz?
Yeah. Yeah. Total bullies right now.
Yeah, so Magic, isn't really too worrisome with the spells that he casts, other than, perhaps Flare or Muddle, especially if you have like a physical offensive build
yeah.
with Fixed Ice or Valiant Knife. But spell cast costs time, and this is a speed run after all. So that's really like the worst part of it here. Does Zen0bian not have Dispel? I thought we had it maybe
Yeah.
on one of
And
our
then
estimates.
the time it takes to restore from something like Muddle or Phoenix down somebody who got knocked out, that's just more time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that
There we go.
Zen0bian has Mute. Maybe it's on Shadow, and Shadow stopped, so that's sort of a troll.
Right.
A lot of
We know.
recovery time here from Mograe.
Yeah.
And Sabin finna die here too. See you later.
Peace out.
Getting ready with Golem for 10 hits there, although Setzer is on 723 HP, so Golem will protect you from damage of the HP of the caster when he casts the spell, so that's not a lot of damage.
Yeah.
It's not a very high wall.
yeah. Not a high wall at all. That's little worrisome.
Alright, well, Tiger is still around for Mograe. He dealt with magic and dealt with tools, so I think it's just Tiger and a stopped hit. Meanwhile, this looks like death counters for magic on Zen0bian's screen with Dispel, and he still has hit and Tiger to deal with, or maybe just hit to deal with. Yeah, it looks like we got 2 parts apiece for each of our runners. We'll see which one takes out
Right.
which first.
Here comes the 10 hits on Zen0bian's screen.
Nice little doggo defense there.
Yeah, good doggo this seed for Zen0bian.
Tiger is dead for Mograe.
Oh, and Zen0bian is moving on to Tier 3, so we have a lead change. Yeah, so that Golem did block most of the hits, but it allowed some at the end to come in here.
Yeah. But it did enough with plus doggo blocking and some nice actually shield blocking from Realm. It was overall pretty good.
All right, so now Zen0bian has to deal with Tier 3. Lady, as the W win, says, sit down, please. As Yeah, so Lady will absorb all elements, so that's why we see the fixed dice come out and the flare come out. So she'll probably be dead after this, and then we have to recover our party to deal with sleep.
Quad 9s was going to be dead anyways there.
Yep. So Sleep has 40,000 HP. When he gets under 10,000, we'll start countering with things like Meteor and Train, and we'll death counter with Calmness, which is an instant death physical special. So that's why we're saving our Golem for that as well. Quad 9's coming out. Smart play for Zeno here to use the fixed dice on Setzer to save on some MP. Unfortunately, that dice roll did not do very well.
Mograe now, who was 8 seconds ahead going to Tier 2, is now finding themselves a minute behind on Tier 3.
Yeah, I think part of that is because Zen0bian has access to Cure 3, and Mograe only had access to Seraphim, which, like I said, is just only slightly better than a Cure 1, right? So it took him a lot longer to recover. I think Realm knows Cure 2 on his party, and Cure 2 is usually good enough, but when your HP totals are this high, sometimes you need just a little extra boost.
Yeah. And if Realm is one of his, main magic dealers, then it's kind of a trade-off. Do I use her to heal, or do I try to dish out the numbers?
Yep.
Yeah, Zen0bian's Realm with Cure 3 is healing for 4,000 per party member. So definitely keep them top off.
Oh, yeah.
Calmness
so
comes out, regular evade, and regular block.
There we go. And now it's time for Kefka for Zen0bian. Mograe cannot be too far behind here, because I saw him pouring up damage. Here comes the Golem cast, making sure that his team is protected from Calmness. All right, so in Zen0bian's last match, he is in the lower bracket because he took a wipe to Kefka there with a double Ultima. So we'll see if he plays this one a little more cautiously, knowing that was very fresh in his mind and it just happened to him. That allowed Taco Mage to advance on to the winner's final. Meanwhile, Mograe is just getting the status effects off of his party because Train can be kind of annoying there. Also terrible for your whole I'm casting magic this whole seed thing, right? If you get Train come out. Alright, so here comes the Fallen One from Kefka. So now's the time to use our Mega Elixir. He's got 2 of them there. So this will not only heal your party up in terms of HP, but it will also restore all of their MP, which by this point in the fight, our characters are probably out of HP. Realm falls over and dies from slip hit from very early on in the fight. And it looks like he's going to try and revive her up before doing the Mega Elixir. This is a little risky because Kefka can cast a spell or go into the Goner phase as he does here. So unfortunately, Sabin is going to have his turn skipped, but all of the other characters can use their turn to pump out damage. And Kefka will not be countering during this part. Meanwhile, Mograe stepping up to the plate here. Zen0bian going to use quick to get multiple turns in one go.
So 2 castings here from Realm. Good chance of getting out of this without Goner going off. He's going to cast double fire 3.
Yeah, he's got to do a lot of damage though because he missed a lot of turns with 2 of his characters falling over. We'll see if Goner actually comes off here for Kefka.
That is some real good damage.
No!
Yes.
Boom, boom, boom. So there it is, Zen0bian. GG's, Zeno. He is your winner, and that is the wrong streamers.
Alrighty, I have some stuff happening. I have to step out. I'm glad I got to see Zen0bian here pull off this win. This was a close race. This was really nice.
Yeah, both tier 4 at the same time.
Yeah, so if Zen0bian doesn't get enough damage there, he eats a Goner, and then he may have to recover his party, so that would have given Mograe some time to catch up. But very nicely done by Zen0bian.
Oh, yeah. give him my congrats, and to Mograe as well for just running a real tight race. Thank you, chat, and thank you, those of you that subbed and mid us for all the gifted subs. You guys are awesome, and sorry I have to leave so suddenly, but I'll see you guys on the next one.
No problem, Prebz. Thanks for being in the whole broadcast, unlike me, who came, a couple minutes early, or late rather. So
it's always good to chat with you guys, and always good to commentate for the chat and for the Worlds Collide community. Love you guys. See you later.
All right, thanks a lot. So Zen0bian, by winning this match, he will go up against the winner of the Dr. DT versus Boo match, which is currently still ongoing. I know that Dr. DT has made his run, but Boo has not. And once Boo does, we will try to bring that to you. Similar to this particular match, where both of these runners ran it in a sync room, but did not have a broadcast. And that's a crack pal for Mograe as well. He finishes less than 2 minutes behind Zen0bian, 1:22.08. That was a great race, Saberwolf.
Yes, it was. It was a very good race there for runners. Very close at the end, back and forth there from Tier 2 to Tier 3. It's kind of exciting action we like to see around here.
Yeah, I think Zen0bian having slightly higher levels and having access to, some slightly more powerful spells for the final boss, right? He had access to fire and access to ice, whereas Mograe only had Fire 2 instead of Fire 3 and did not have Mute, was, I think, the difference maker there, right? Otherwise, their parties were pretty equivalent.
So, can't update the brackets right now, it's not letting me, but here is what the brackets look like again. Like you said, Zen0bian moving on to the next round versus the winner of Dr. DT and Boo. We'll hopefully have that for you on another live commentary on Saturday night. And on the bottom side, we got Taco Mage, who lost to Falcon Hit in the top bracket. They'll face off against Rulith, who has been putting down some really sick times since being knocked down in the lower bracket.
Yeah, so they will be using the Umaro's Club flag set next week, the Zen0bian and winner of that other match, along with Taco Mage and Drulith. So that'll be interesting to see how our runners get on with that particular flag set. I'm expecting them to practice this flag set a bit, because that Coliseum win condition can be quite polarizing, right? I find it's going to be similar to the Go-Go one, where because Go-Go was auto-reflect, right? So that might be, a thing where you avoid the Coliseum because you don't want that particular condition there.
Very true. Well, that'll do it for us tonight. Fortunately, nobody to interview. Because again, this was a live commentary on some VODs. Because we're in the later rounds, we want to make sure we get all the full commentary, so you get all the nuances of the game and understanding what is happening as we play along.
Yeah, so thank you, Saberwolf, for pulling all the strings and doing the restream. Really appreciate that. You are much better at doing the tech side of things than I am, for sure.
I appreciate that.
When it comes to restream production, of course. So yeah, thank you for doing that.
No problem. And thank you for editing this and getting this in time for tonight. Everybody appreciates that, so we can see all the latest action for the Worlds Collide. There's never been a better time to be in the Worlds Collide right now. And if you missed the action on our Twitch, make sure you head over to our YouTube page, FF6 Worlds Collide on YouTube, where all our VODs are available right there, released every single day of the tournament, and it's never been better. We're up to over 830 subs. We want to see 1,000 subs by the end of the year. So if you haven't subscribed to YouTube, please do so.
End of the year, end of the month. Come on, let's set some... No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're setting some goals here.
Yeah, also, we have a brand new website, ff6worldscollide.com. That is the new way to roll all of your cool seeds. It's very, very, very awesome. We are also on Twitter at ff6_WC, and we're also on Instagram at ff6WC, in case you want to join us on our socials. But yeah, I think that's going to do it, Saberwolf. Again, thank you for broadcasting. Appreciate it. Thank you to Mograe and Zen0bian as well for allowing us to feature your race and for getting me your VODs in a very timely fashion so that I could render them overnight and then send them off to Saberwolf.
Yes, we are definitely. You and I have been definitely a processing plant here, trying to get everything out, get all the coverage, as much coverage for you, every single match available for this entire series.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go start writing my my recap script now.
Oh yes, please make sure you catch out his recaps, the 30 minutes recaps of all the important tidbits of all the races. Check out Schwanz's recaps; those have been pretty good and pretty enlightening.
Yeah, I think that
awesome.
they'll get less and less long as there's less and less matches. But I mean, it's just the things that I noticed during the races that make a difference. And you know, it's always good to sort of analyze the better runners in the community to see what they do and what they did wrong to better improve your game. You can also do this for yourself as well, but I can very more easily make fun of everybody else than I can myself. So there's always that. But yes, thanks for hanging out. Saberwolf, we got anything else?
That'll it. So once again, we will have Dr. DT versus Boo. They'll be running this Realm Rush flag set once again. And again, next week, all the runners that continue on the lower bracket, they'll be playing Yamaro's Club. Falcon Hit in the top bracket gets to take a nice long rest for the next 2 weeks as he sits in the catbird seat waiting for everybody else to finish.
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do for the finals, just as a sneak peek, and because I talked to the commish about this, I think for the finals there might be 2 matches. So what I think we're leaning towards doing is we're giving 2 flag sets for the finals, right? And just randomly picking one of them for match 1 and randomly picking the other one if there is a match 2, because this is a double elimination tournament after all.
That'd be very interesting. It'd be extra spicy.
I don't know. That might be a thing we do. I that was my idea. We'll see what the powers that be decide.
Alrighty.
Because I don't know about you, but I've been enjoying watching a lot of these different flag sets. They've been really, really cool to see just how different some of them can be, right? So.
Oh yeah, this has been a very refreshing racing series. I appreciated it. That'll do it for us tonight. I am Saberwolf, joined by the Schwans and Aprevs for this commentary. Again, check us out on all our social media. Just search FF6 Worlds Collide or FF6WC, and it'll get you there. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.